We
are
We
are
cultivate.
cultivate
cultivate.
Cultivate.
We are cultivate.
Hello and welcome to Ye Olde Crime, where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear. I'm your host, Lindsay Valenti, and joining me today in place of Maddie is my friend, Caitlin.
Yay! I could never replace Maddie.
This is true. She's pretty
Yeah.
irreplaceable, but
She's pretty awesome. She kind of rocks my socks all the way off.
she's going to appreciate that.
Yay!
Yeah, Maddie is recuperating from surgery. I'm not going to explain what kind of surgery it is, but just know that it went well and she's just super, super tired, which is fair. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to make you talk to me when you are hyped up on drugs and should be resting.
Could be really interesting content, but maybe another time.
Maybe another time when she probably isn't going to be like falling asleep as she's talking to me.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
probably
yeah.
wouldn't be very interesting.
There's just long pauses where I'm like waiting for her to respond. And then I'm like, okay, never mind. Moving on.
Moving on.
So I have a quick correction, Cubby. I feel so bad about this. So last week, I misnamed Trevin's podcast. It should be Live Laugh Larceny, not Live Love Larceny. I think I was in a weird fugue state when I said that. So I am sorry, Trevin. I already apologized to him like via DM, so he's all good. But I want to acknowledge it to everybody else so no one comes at me and is like, actually,
My
got
good
that
friend
wrong.
Trevin. No, they're so kind. And
They're so nice.
while that would be a fabulous name,
Mm-hmm.
some people grow quite attached to the names of their shows. So
Yeah. That makes like the second time that I've misnamed somebody's podcast, but both times people have been pretty good about it. So
yeah.
I'm hoping I don't do it a third time and someone's like, listen.
You know what? Now I've already planted in your head the misnomer that we were given, P&W humps. Humps. It was sort of a the vowel sound was a little vague. So it was humps or humps and homicides. It's a fun one. You know,
It
we
is
thought
fun.
about changing it, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. I think it should be a Patreon only series where you have like smooth jazz in the background.
You know, I like where your head's at. I'm taking that into advisement.
Oh, I suppose that's a good segue. Caitlin, you should probably tell people where you're from because I didn't say
You
what
know
podcast
what?
you're from.
That's fair. That's fair. We just know each other and
Yeah.
we're like, I know you. Everybody, you know her. And they're like, we really don't. Really, we don't. Yes. So I am one half of the podcast P&W Haunts and Homicides.
Yes.
Yeah. We hail from, I've been told that apparently this is something not everybody knows. P&W is the Pacific Northwest. So just in case I was coming across a little mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I suppose that helps for like our international listeners who are like, I don't know what P&W stands for.
Yeah. And oof, I dread to think about some of the different combinations that people could come up with. It's probably better to be on Front Street about it.
This is true.
Yeah.
So another quick thing I'm going to mention before we get into the episode is I want to shout out our patrons, our lovely patrons over on Patreon. So thank you so much to Jenna, Shinnifer, and Tom. And if you would like to join their ranks, you can do so for as little as $1 a month over on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/Ye Olde Crime Podcast. There is a link in our show notes if you are interested.
I'm interested.
Of course you are. So this week, we are going to be traveling to Sweden, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce things properly. But we are going to be discussing Helga du Brache.
Ooh.
Are you familiar with her at all?
Ugh, I'm racing through the memory bank, and I think I'm coming up empty.
Excellent.
Excellent.
So, information was pulled from the following sources: a 2023 List Verse article by Jessica, a 2022 Historic Mysteries article by Roisin Everard, 2019 Mental Floss article by Christy Puchko, a 1910 Wayne News article, Stylist article by Kate Lever, Liquid Search, and 2 Wikipedia links. And we will have links to all of these articles in the show notes. If you want a playlist of all our episodes on YouTube, click the link in our show notes or in our link tree and subscribe today for not only a list of our full catalog, but a separate list as well just of our Can You Crack the Cramp Word segments. Back before blood tests, you could be whoever you wanted as long as you had a great story, even a princess.
That is living.
Mm-hmm. I would have been so good at this. I would have
Yeah,
been
I feel
the
like
best.
I'm not a great liar typically, but
Mm-hmm.
for the life of a princess, I'll muster.
Yeah, I'll pull out all the stops to be a princess. Let's be real.
Yeah.
In 1812, King Gustav Adolphus IV, who had been living in exile after he was deposed as the King of Sweden in a coup in 1809, divorced his wife Fredrika of Bauden. Years later, Helga shared that she was the product of his and Fredrika of Bauden's reunion when they secretly remarried, quote, in a convent in Germany, end quote.
Not my dream choice of wedding venue. I'm currently on the prowl, but it's a choice.
It is a choice. The most romantic? One could argue no, but you do you.
Yeah.
Monarchs can do what they want.
Sometimes you gotta consider the budget.
This is true. I'm in exile. We were
Yep.
already divorced. This convent's here. I don't think the nuns are going to charge us anything, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Save the romance for the honeymoon, my darling.
That's true. She was born in Lausanne in 1820, but raised in secret by King Gustav IV's aunt, Princess Sophia Albertine of Sweden, to ensure she wouldn't be viewed as a claimant to the royal throne. She was also placed in Sophia's care due to the fact that Fredrika, her mother, was placed in an asylum.
Oh, okay. So, not an ideal place to come up as a kid.
No,
So, I think that tracks.
yeah. Upon Sophia's death in 1829, Helga was taken to the Vadsteinene Asylum in Linköping at the age of 9 under the guise of being insane so she could be raised in secret with her true identity hidden from the world.
Why is everything gotta be shrouded in so much mystery?
And why is the answer asylums?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Like,
Real asylum heavy on this story so far.
not my first choice for places to, be shrouded in mystery.
No,
But, you do
not so
you.
much. Yeah, my gosh.
Helga lived in the asylum until 1834, when she was released at the age of 14 into the care of her family in Bowden. While there, she was placed under house arrest, again, to keep her true identity a secret.
Oh boy. She is just all of the aliases. I mean, does anyone know who she really is?
What does she even look like? We
I
don't know.
Does she know who she is at this point?
Exactly. Why am I not allowed to see anybody?
Yeah.
Her father passed away not long after she was reunited with her family, dying on February 7th, 1837, at the age of 58. Overcome with grief at the news, Helga was once again taken to an asylum in Sweden at the age of 17. The Bowden family, who had gone to extreme lengths to keep her existence hidden, feared that if she were to suddenly speak out about her true identity while in a state of such grief, her words would only be viewed as those of a mad woman.
I mean, probably a fair assumption,
Mhm.
but, you know, that is rude. This
I
whole
know.
hysterical woman thing,
Mhm.
I'm not a fan.
And again, why is the default asylums?
Yes.
There are other places that exist.
My gosh. I mean, can we circle back to the convent idea?
Yeah. Pretend
A
she's
lot of them
going
weren't
to join the
better.
nunnery. Like,
Yeah. It may not have been, like, perfect. A lot of them weren't better at that point in history, but,
mhm.
like, just switch it up. Try something different.
Yeah. There are enough castles in the world in Europe where you probably could have found one that she could hide away in and it would be fine.
There's gotta be.
Yeah.
That's the castle I want to live in.
I want to live in the small hidden away castle where I can live shrouded in mystery.
Yes. Yes.
Who's that girl? How do you know?
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Oh, I love that. We're huge New Girl fans, so
Mhm.
you had me at, "Who's that girl?"
Who's that girl? Don't know. It wasn't long before she managed to escape, living off the charity of strangers sympathetic to her plight. She started to appear in society, and her requests for support were granted by Queen Mother Josefina, who provided her with a generous yearly pension of 6,000 Riksdollar a year, or around $19,450 as of 2015.
Okay, so it's something, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not supporting your princess lifestyle.
No,
Not
I
by a
don't think
long
so.
shot.
In 1850, at the age of 30, she started to publicly discuss her royal lineage and began to petition the reigning monarch, King Oscar I, for a yearly allowance.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
However, not everyone believed that Helga was who she claimed to be, and her pension payments were halted. She soon began to accumulate debts to the people who had been supporting her, debts she had no means to pay back.
Oh. Double uh-oh.
I think it's another one of those classic cases of living above your means.
Kind of in a way, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, girlfriend, for all intents and purposes, you are a peasant just like the rest of us, unfortunately, for you.
it's unfortunate for you, yes. Helga had many private benefactors, including salon hostess Frances Lewin von Cook, who was the spouse of the Minister of Justice, Niels von Cook. The pair provided her with lodging, as well as a lawyer, which is an interesting
Okay.
combination.
I mean, that's moving on up in the world.
hmm You got a house, you have legal representation. Pretty good.
Yeah. Alright.
I'm digging it. She also was supported by Anders User, a member of parliament, and the royal court chaplain, Karl Norby. Everyone who met her had no reason to doubt her, as she seemed too sensible, almost naive, to be able to come up with any sort of half truth.
Okay. I That's a tough one to argue against, I think, at that point.
She's just a simple country girl, you know?
Yeah.
All that
Just
asylum life.
right. Well, if you're really wealthy, I suppose you don't have to be clever.
This is true. You
Yeah.
can let your money do the talking for you.
There you go. I am ready.
I know. I want that princess life.
Yes.
11 years after her pensions had been cut, she petitioned to the Swedish government once more requesting her royal annuity, which she was granted from the Foreign Department in March of 1861 by King Charles XV, following a meeting he had with her, after which he claimed the members of Parliament, quote, "Why, she is just as sane as you or me," end quote.
Imagine that.
And a woman!
Gasp. Honestly, that should be surprising after all of that time in so many asylums. How did she do it?
I think she's okay. Up
Yeah.
here.
It's like the 1830s version of, "You can have it all."
Exactly. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's not mental illness.
That's perfect. TM, TM.
TM, 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 TM. By this point, many members of not just the Swedish parliament, but also the royal family became divided on their stance of whether or not Helga was, in fact, royalty. Prime Minister Louis Dakier and Foreign Minister Ludwig Manderstrom were firmly in the camp of those that believed her to be a fraud.
Well, they sound like they have the most dickish names, so I'm
Right,
not surprised.
right. Your names are
That
hard to say.
tracks. Exactly.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Helga once again received a government pension, this time of 2,400 Swedish riksdaler, which as of 2015 would be around $7,500, as well as furniture befitting a princess.
Okay, well, listen. Maybe if somebody's putting me up in a nice spot, I can
Mm-hmm.
learn to live on a little less, you
Mm-hmm.
know, keep that girlish figure by
Mm-hmm.
trimming down the grocery budget.
Maybe she had a victory garden. You don't know. I mean,
It's anyone's guess.
exactly.
Ye old dietary accommodations,
There you go.
restrictions.
To be fair, she also continued to receive charity from her many supporters. So she might have been living actually pretty good. They didn't
Okay.
say anywhere how much she was making from her supporters, so
Hard to say.
hard to say. Many members of the royal family viewed her lineage as legitimate, while many Finns and Swedes who knew of her assumed she was merely receiving unfair treatment by the current reigning monarchy.
I mean, when has that ever happened, though?
I know. Never.
They are known for their generous spirit and kind hearted acts of goodwill.
Totes.
Yeah.
Totes. A longtime female companion of Helga backed up her claims as a member of the royal family. She was a well spoken and properly educated woman, which helped assure those who doubted Helga of the validity of her claims. This is an interesting thing that I came across. Any press who wanted to verify her claims by reaching out to her mother were blocked due to the fact that any communication with dethroned royalty was illegal in Sweden.
Okay. Well, that complicates things just a titch.
Mhm. And she was also, I think, still in an asylum, so that also puts a little bit of a on whether or not what she said could be trusted.
Yeah. I guess you got to grease the wheels for some orderly there at the asylum.
Just put her out on the window, like with the TV people, and then I'll just, slide on in and it'll be fine.
Yeah. That is the ye old version of sliding into someone's DMs.
Totally.
Solved it.
Hey, girl. How's it going? You look real good.
Hey, girl. Hey.
So, what's the sitch? Tell me the 411.
Am I the drama?
At least until 1870, when Carl Norby wrote an essay about her that was published in the paper, which brought up more questions than answers, prompting an investigation.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, this is okay. There's some intrigue here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we pull at that thread just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
In 1876, under the reign of King Oscar II, people started to question if Helga was actually the person she claimed to be, which resulted in a trial.
Oh, okay. What kind of a trial? I'm a little nervous now. No.
At this time, Helga was 56 years old.
Okay. Well,
I
does
mean,
it seem like it kind of doesn't matter
I
either
mean, at,
way?
I mean, at this point, I'd say no, but they're royalty, so
Yeah.
I get it. During the trial, which took place between 1876 and 1877, Helga spilled it all, providing her real identity, that of Aurora Florentina Magnusson.
Oh, all the hottest tea.
She spilled all of it. Aurora Florentina Magnusson was born on September 6, 1817, in Stockholm, Sweden. Her father was a custom caretaker named Anders Magnusson, who passed away when Aurora was 9 in 1826. She was one of 5 children and under the care of a widow mother whose social standing was nowhere near Anders, who was well educated.
Oh, okay.
It was at her confirmation that her mother was overheard saying that Aurora wasn't her biological child, but merely her foster child.
Oh,
I know, there's so much tea in this. Aurora's mother listed her quote unquote real parents as members of the upper class, Count de Kier, and an unmarried noblewoman.
shut the front door.
Scandal.
Ah,
Whether this was true or not, these simple statements would leave a profound and lasting impression on Aurora. Regardless of her father's social status, Aurora was only able to receive a basic education, and in 1835, at the age of 18, she became employed as a maid and bookkeeper to the Hedman family. She was only with them for a short time, just 3 years, as they believed she was, quote, above her station, end quote.
okay. When they say that, do they mean she was acting as if she was above her station?
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I wonder why she thinks she's.
Yeah, like,
She literally thinks she is.
yeah, like I shouldn't have to clean for you guys. I'm above
Yeah.
you.
I'm trying to live my best princess life. And
You're
I'll be honest, my job duties are kind of getting in the way of that.
yeah,
Like, same. Yeah.
you're totally harsh in my groove. Aurora then went on to be hired in 1838 by the wealthy merchant Henrik Auspergrien on Västerlånggatan 78, where she assisted the women of the family as they prepared for the balls they attended as a seamstress.
Oh, okay. So she might be getting like a little bit closer to the action.
Mm-hmm. I was getting like Cinderella type vibes right here because she's like helping them with their
I
dresses and stuff.
This is like major Bridgerton vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Given a glimpse of the type of life she so desperately wanted, Aurora implored one of the daughters to allow her to live with the family, proclaiming that she was homeless and had nowhere to go. This daughter, Henrika Auspergrien, became totally enamored with Aurora, gifting her expensive clothes before the pair eventually left the Auspergrien household altogether.
What?
Now, like, I don't want to like spread rumors or anything.
Right? I think I know where you're going with this.
Given this was like in the 1800s, but in like the stories that I read, it made it seem like they were a little closer than just good friends.
You don't say.
So I don't know,
Yeah.
but it just, I don't know. And you'll kind of get it as I go through their dynamic, but it just seemed a little like they were more bosom buddies
Yeah.
in a
There's a little more to it.
yeah, because I was just like, that seems like really odd to just all of a sudden be like, I love this girl so much that I'm gonna like run away from my house and we're gonna go do
Yeah.
our own thing together.
Right. Especially coming from, obviously some privilege
Mm-hmm.
to just say, I'm walking away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big statement.
it is. So I was like, I wonder if there's a little bit more to that. And if there is, you go girls. But,
Get it?
like I was a little intrigued by that.
Yeah.
In 1844, the pair moved to Finland, where Aurora changed her name to Aurora Florentina de la Brache. which was the last name of the royal family.
Oh, I see what she did there.
Hmm. The following year, in 1845, she changed her name once more to Anna Florentina de la Brache. The transition to her new persona of de la Brache was cemented when Aurora Magnuson was reported as drowned.
Oh, okay. So now we're faking our death.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm guessing it wasn't for life insurance money, but
I don't think so. I think it was more like, I need to bury this. Like, this needs to go away.
wow. Okay.
So I was like, all right. The name on her passport would eventually change to the name she was most commonly known as, Helga de la Brache, while she and Henrika traveled around Finland and Sweden, during which time Henrika worked as a teacher in order to support their lavish lifestyle.
Okay. Actually having to take a job, huh?
I
Whew.
know.
That's tough times.
Yeah. In 1846, Henrika established a ladies' school in Turku, Finland, capitalizing on the Dula Brache name to appeal to the masses. There are even accounts that Helga mastered the art of the fainting spell to avoid unpleasant questions and situations from parents.
Hello. Okay, so where did you say this school was?
Just Turku, Finland is fine.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up because I do have a flight to catch, but
Oh, no.
ah,
2 years later, in 1848, the pair relocated to Orebro before moving to Sala in 1857, where the pair attempted to create a fashion store, but the project failed before it could really begin.
okay. So, I mean, where'd they go wrong? Are these like ye old Crocs that they were trying to get out there or
I don't know if it was something where it was like they couldn't get a business loan, or maybe they didn't have enough collateral to, you know what I
Oh.
mean?
I just jumped immediately on the like it wasn't fashionable fashion. That's the train that I got on. I was like, "Listen, if they had good fashion sense, somebody would have funded them."
It was
But
just too soon for the croc movement. They needed
it
to wait another 100 some years.
at least.
Too
Yeah.
soon. It was just too soon. They were way too fashion forward. They were like a century or so too fashion forward.
Yeah, I would say. Oh boy.
You guys, we have something really exciting to share with you.
Let's hear a few words from our new pod besties.
Can you hear me? Good to have you back with us. I hope you don't mind that I am recording for investigative notes. It's a wax cylinder, the only thing we've found that can pick up the voices of people in your condition. My name is Owen von Sid. I am a reclaimer. Do you know what that means? No? Well, I am sorry to inform you that you didn't make it. Please try to remain calm. The worst is over. Nothing can hurt you, not ever again. But the thing that did this to you, it is still out there. That is what we do. I wake unfortunate souls, such as yourself, hear their stories, then my associates and I see to it that whoever or whatever did this to you is dealt with. Now, let's begin. When you are ready. Tell me, how did you die?
Ghost Wax is an anthology horror podcast from Far and Tall Tales Productions. New episodes releasing weekly. Look for us wherever you get your podcasts.
Check them out, creepy people. Their info is in our show notes.
In the 1860s, the pair moved to Stockholm, where Aurora made the decision to profit off her fake identity, working to present herself as a long lost princess of Sweden.
Can't do that in Crocs.
No. People be like, what the hell is going on with your feet, girl?
I don't think so. Especially if you charm them out the way that my co-host does. Cassie has a charm in every single one of her crock holes.
Oh, wow. See,
Yeah.
I only have one in each of my Crocs.
Really?
Yeah.
She do it up big.
Yeah. I'm a little too basic. I'm not
That's
that
okay. That'd be
cool.
me.
I have one that's like a little Starbucks cup on one foot, and then the other one is a little boba thing, and I think it says "suck my balls,"
Hello.
which I
So
thought was
you've covered
hysterical.
caffeine and potty humor, and
Mhm.
I'm there for that.
Mhm. I mean,
What else is there?
I don't think I need to add any more to those Crocs.
Nope.
They say enough as it is.
No, you've got it.
The trial drew royal and national attention, with both classes waiting with bated breath for the verdict. On March 2nd, 1877, Aurora was ultimately found guilty of fraudulently claiming to be a member of the royal family, as well as registering herself under a false name, year of birth, and for not tax registering herself for the year of 1877.
Oh, tax fraud. That's always how they get you. Oh,
You
man.
gotta pay your taxes.
Yeah. Especially if you're committing other crimes. Any
Mm-hmm.
tax professional will tell you.
Yep. I feel like that was like a last little dig thing they added on there. Like,
Yeah.
and not only do you have a false name, but taxes,
Taxes. You know.
death and taxes. That's the thing.
That's exactly in my head. I'm just like, death and taxes. Oh no. But are we going to get a side of death with the taxes in this
Well,
situation?
surprisingly, she was sentenced numerous fines and somehow avoided jail.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I fully think that was, I mean, she was wrongfully convicted because if she really did it, they would have given her something harsh,
Yeah, like
right? But
hard labor. Yeah.
they wouldn't do that to the princess, even if they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to make her stay a secret princess. That's
Mm-hmm.
convince me otherwise. I don't think you can.
Yep. Following the trial, Aurora and Henrika moved to an apartment together in the Klara Norra region of Sweden, where they lived in seclusion. The pair were described as nice old ladies
Oh,
who were regularly seen walking in the park, ordered their food delivered to them at home, and rarely spoke with others.
oh my God. This could be me and Cassie. This could be you and Maddie.
Right?
I mean, how many friends did they have? Maybe this is you, me, Cassie, and Maddie.
Just living in our little, like, cute little old lady apartment.
I love that.
I know. The pair surfaced briefly in 1884 when King Oscar II spotted them roaming the Drottningholm Gardens and had them removed from the property, which is, I think, a little over the top. Come on,
I
guys.
was
They're
gonna
like,
say,
they're
they're
old,
little old ladies. Have some class.
right? You don't need to kick them out of the garden. God.
Give me a break.
Even if there were fences, they're not going to be able to scale them. Let's be real. They're little old
No.
ladies.
Mm-mm.
After this, the women moved to another apartment in Djurgården run by Mrs. Maria Charlotte Nyberg in an effort to avoid being arrested. I mean, I'm sure they're kind of paranoid at this point.
I would think so.
Like the king kicked us out of his garden. We're just gonna go.
Yeah. We're gonna go in peace.
Exactly. Just a year later, Aurora passed away on January 11th, 1885, at the age of 67. As she lay on her deathbed, she shared with friend and artist Georg von Rosen that she firmly believed she was of noble birth.
Oh,
I
that's so
know.
sad. I mean, if you think about it though, she was really kicking. I
Yeah.
mean, a year before she died, she just like got casually kicked out of the king's garden.
I know.
Fuck. Like,
Right?
wow, that really puts my weekend into perspective.
I know. I did nothing with myself.
Wow. Okay, well, something to aspire to.
Hmm.
Maybe next weekend.
I know. I need to up my game to get kicked out of someone's garden. Then I'll be kind of close to her level of cool.
Right?
Politician Per August Johansson sought to clear Aurora/Helga's name in 1909. In the November 3rd, 1910 edition of the Wayne News newspaper, an article ran titled Swedish Royalty Fighting Lawsuit Involving a Ruler. Sections of the article are as follows. So I didn't do the whole thing, but I just kind of pulled out some interesting pieces.
Ooh, little juicy tidbits.
Mm-hmm. Quote, the amazing action will be resumed to recover $1,250,000, or around $40 million today,
Ha!
from the Swedish royal purse. The plaintiff is P.A. Johansson, a member of the Landsting. He not only seeks to recover the money, but also a number of letters he says were given to the royal family by the late Anna Helga de Brache. Count von Rosen regards Miss de Brache as sincere in the claims she put forward during her life. He adds, quote, if she did deceive, it was because she herself had been deceived. She had from her earliest childhood heard statements from which sprang the conviction, till her dying hour, that she was in truth the daughter of the king, end quote. Which is fair.
Yeah. I mean, this is all based on what she was told.
Mm-hmm. Quote, after the pension was stopped, she made her first appearance at the Foreign Office, and General Lagerheim tried to demonstrate the future of her pretensions. You think, then, she cried, that I am an impostor? I don't think so. I am sure of it, was the reply of the Director General. Miss de la Brache got up and went off, quote, looking more like a bad-tempered woman found out than an offended princess, end quote.
Okay, well, those things, just to be fair, they can look very similar.
Well, and it's like, what does an offended princess do? Like, throw her glove or like drop a handkerchief
Exactly.
and like huff away?
I think we have a real world example of sort of the one of these things is not like the other with the royal family right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
Kate is very much what this is what a princess should look like. And then Meghan is apparently oftentimes not.
Mm-hmm.
Lover,
Exactly.
hater, whatever you think.
Mm-hmm. Quote, Mrs. Maria Charlotte Nyberg, at whose house the claimant lodged during the last years of her life, declares her guest frequently stated she was the issue of a secret marriage of King Gustavus IV. She also said she met her father on the island of Hyen in the Sound about 1830 and received from him several letters of such importance to her fortune that subsequently $1,250,000, or the $40 million that I mentioned before, was deposited in her interest by her Russian relatives with the Swedish royal family.
That is really great news if she can produce that letter. Am I right?
Right. As to the incidental assertion put in by the defending attorney, court auditor Lundgren, that Miss de la Brache was identical with a certain Ansora Florentina Magnusson, the daughter of a customs official, Mr. Blomquist, who was her legal advisor in 1870, has filed a long statement in disproof, declaring the allegation is quote unquote senseless.
Okay. Well, let's stop throwing around this, senseless, hysterical, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to end up in the asylum again, do we?
I know. Fourth time, not so great.
Yeah,
She's
not
already been
so
there
much.
3 times.
Oh man, third time was not the charm.
No. The 1910s brought to light some interesting new details about Helga's supposed mother, Frederica of Bauden. Prior to her divorce from King Gustavus IV, she had named the Russian Tsar, Alexander I, as the guardian of her children. With this new information brought to light, Helga would have been entitled to royal compensation. However, it didn't really matter since the Russian Revolution started in 1917, and this was several years after her death.
Ah, that is so annoying.
Mm-hmm. So that is the story of Helga de la Brache slash Aurora Florentina Magnuson.
My gosh.
I mean, she had some awesome names. Aurora,
Sh
that's a pretty cool name.
I was just thinking to myself, I love the name Aurora.
Total Sleeping Beauty vibes.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think she was just a con artist, or do you think maybe she like really truly thought she was?
Oh, I am team Princess Aurora slash Helga all the way, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If she wasn't actually royalty, I don't think that she knew any better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and given that she did grow up in an asylum, like who's to say what sort of things she would have thought up when she was there? I mean, what sort of orphan kid wouldn't be like, wouldn't it be great if I was just a lost princess? You know what I
Right?
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then, the mind has great ways of convincing itself of certain truths.
Oh, absolutely.
And if no one came out until she was, in her 50s saying, "Oh no, that's not right." How would
Right.
how would she know any different? You know?
I mean,
Especially
no.
if people were like, "We're gonna put you under house arrest because you are this princess that's missing and we wanna make sure nobody's gonna do anything to you." You know? Like,
Exactly. My God, what is she supposed to believe at that point?
mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I don't know. But that's Helga for you.
I think you mean Princess Aurora.
There you go, Princess Aurora of Sweden. Looking for more content? You can find us online at yieldcrimepodcast.com. If you'd like to see pictures from this week's episode, not to mention bonus content and funny memes, make sure to follow us on Twitter at YieldCrimePod and on Facebook and Instagram at YieldCrimePodcast. On TikTok? Of course you are. Follow us at YieldCrimePodcast.
Welcome to Life Curious Women Season 2. I am so excited to share everything we've been working on for the past couple of months. Life Curious Women is where you will find honest conversations exploring women's experiences, learning, growing, and healing. Join me, Ashley Nadine Lopez, a Latinx actor and a lifelong learner, as I interview fellow Life Curious women in their journeys to finding or following their purpose. Life Curious Women grew out of a passion to share women's stories. I personally love meeting new people and hearing about what lights their fire and how they have followed their intuition and their passions to create the life that they're living today. I think that there is power in community and power in listening to other people's stories to help push and inspire you to follow your own passion and purpose. So, if you are working on your growth in your life, you need some inspiration, or you're just interested in the stories of other women, come learn and join the Life Curious Women community by listening to episodes weekly.
This week's podcast plug is the Life Curious Women podcast, where you will find honest conversations exploring women's experiences learning, growing, and healing. Join Latinx actor and longtime learner Ashley Nadine Lopez as she interviews fellow life curious women and their journeys to finding or following their purpose. If you are working on growth in your life, need some inspiration, or are just plain interested in the stories of other women, give it a listen.
Love that.
And she was on the last episode of Can You Crack the Cramp Word?
Okay, I thought that sounded really familiar.
Yeah. So you can, if you
Yeah.
haven't listened to that episode, you can go back and check that out, but we'll have a link to her show in the show notes. And we have a listener question this week. So you get an opportunity to answer a listener question.
Ooh.
So our friend Carrie Ann wants to know, would you travel back in time so you could stop Jack the Ripper, or so you could gather more evidence before the bodies were discovered for the future to find out?
Mm. That is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I can just completely stop him, just nip that in the bud.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. But what is, oh man, damn it, Ashton. I'm thinking of the butterfly effect, and I think I have to go back and collect more evidence because I mean, who
Mm-hmm.
knows what other aspects of history that I'm changing, and it pains me to say it, but ah, final answer, Regis.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's one of those things where it's it's horrible what happened to those canonical 5. And
Mhm.
who knows if it happened to more women that we don't know about because there was no Ripper letters about other women.
Right. Seems like there's a high likelihood.
Mhm. Especially given, like, how there was pockets of time in between the first, like, 3, and then all of a sudden it was, like, the second 2 were just super,
Bam,
like,
bam, bam.
bam, bam,
Yeah.
and how it kind of escalated to that point. Like, it didn't just start with minor incisions or anything in the first victim. Like, it was like, this guy knew what he was doing.
Mhm.
So, I feel like if I could go back, it would definitely be to gather more evidence before he got to the point where he finally stopped. If that is in
Yeah.
fact when he did finally stop. So,
That's the thing, right? It's
mhm.
so hard to look at some of the gaps in the case and say, yes, for sure, the canonical 5, that's, you know, was he killing before that? Did he continue killing after? Was he,
Mhm.
I mean, think about all of the conspiracies about other parts of the world that he may have traveled to
Mhm.
and cases all over the world that could be potentially linked to him.
Like the H. Holmes theory, that
Oh my God.
that theory,
It's a wild one.
it is a wild one. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god. I just can't see that that's not his MO though. That wasn't H. Holmes'
Yeah.
MO." He was all about, like, gassing people and
Yeah, I
all
mean,
that other stuff, but yeah.
it doesn't really fit for me, to my mind, but, uh, it I guess anything's possible.
Mhm. This is
Anything
true.
is possible.
This is true. Well, thank you for that question, Kirian. I hope you appreciate our responses.
Yeah, that was such a good question.
Mhm. All right. Ladies first. What is something good you'd like to share this week?
Oh my goodness, how did I get to this point and not even it never occurred to me, think of your something good.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm recently engaged, and that in and of itself could be a something good. Yay!
Congratulations.
I'm so excited. It would be really something good if I could remember to call my fiancé that instead of boyfriend, but we're working on it.
It's a work in progress. It takes a little while to get used to saying that.
It does, yeah, man, he's got a whole new title. It's a promotion. It's
Mhm.
yeah, so that's exciting. We actually just visited the first of the 2 venues that we're gonna go and look at. We
Nice.
have another one this week, and we spent a little bit of time with his parents this afternoon to show them the venues online, and it's starting to feel a little bit more real.
Mhm.
So, it's exciting. It's a little bit stressful, but
Yeah.
it's mostly exciting so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun part for us, like, kinda figuring out where you're gonna have it and all the other
Yeah.
little, like, details that go into it, and
Yeah.
have fun with that because it's fun.
Yeah, I think so. It should be.
Alright. Now I'm, like, blanking on something good that I can share. I do this
You're
every
like,
week, I
"Well, it was
swear.
a real hassle trying to get this episode up."
Mhm. Let's
My
see.
goodness.
Hmm. I suppose my something good is the fact that my one coworker who works on my team, what up, Tiff? Who designed all of our artwork, like our logo and stuff.
That's so fun.
I know. She was unable to make a work trip that she was originally scheduled for in New Orleans. So now it sounds like she's going to be going to a trade show with me in the fall, which I'm super excited about. And we're going to Washington, D.C. And I've never been to D.C. before, so I'm pretty excited.
Hello. Major score. Wow. You're burying the lead there.
I know. So I'm pretty excited. That's something where the reason I thought of it is because my boss booked flights this week. She was like, "Are you okay with these flights?" And I was like, "Yes. I can be at the airport at 5 a.m. That's fine. I just won't sleep the night before.
Oh.
It'll be great."
Oh, no.
Yeah. Not excited about that, but we'll get home around dinner time on the way back, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be such a great trip. I
Mm-hmm.
have not been to Washington, D.C. either.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to fill me in on all of the things that you managed to cram into that little trip and let me know what's up.
I know. She and I joked that we're going to try and sit on Lincoln's lap. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But
Ah. I mean,
we could try to Spider-Man our way up, but I'm pretty sure someone's going to try to arrest us if we do that. So,
I was gonna
JK, I'm
say
not going to
that.
actually do it.
I was gonna say I'm not entirely sure. Hashtag not a lawyer. But do they frown on that? Is that
Pretty sure it's frowned upon that to
yeah?
try to sit on old Papa Lincoln's lap, but
Well,
maybe you can use the magic of photography to try and make it look like you're sitting on his lap.
you know what? I think I might know a guy. Yeah.
Or the magic of
Yeah.
Photoshop. But we can pretend. We can pretend.
Yeah.
All right. And on that note, we're going to shut her down. If you're interested in ad-free content, consider supporting us with a one-time donation either over on Buy Me a Coffee or our Venmo page, both of which are in our link tree and in the show notes. If you'd like early ad-free content, not to mention some bonus material, become a member of our Patreon today for as low as $1 a month. So a great way to support the show, if you can't do so financially, is to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, and there are some others out there that I probably don't even know about. And this week's comes from, I think it's Apple Podcast? Pretty sure it's Apple Podcast. And it's from our friend Lo Dandy. And it says, "Interesting topics that keep you to the end." And she says, "I met Lindsay in the ASA network and thought I should check out her show. And after listening to the first one, I binged for a day. I don't even feel bad for listening to a true crime podcast because I feel like I'm learning about interesting historical happenings too."
So true.
Thank you, Lo. I recorded with her recently for an upcoming episode of Can You Crack the Cramp Word? And it was very nice talking to her. I actually was also a guest on her show. So when that comes out, I will share it with our listeners in case you're interested about my breastfeeding journey. So
Hello.
that's a fun
Yeah.
thing you can hear about if that's your jam.
You're really into learning.
Yeah, I'm into learning and sharing. I'm a sharer, I'm a giver, I'm a lifelong learner.
I love that.
Got something you want to say? Shoot us an email over at yeoldcrimepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story ideas, see any gifts you send our way, or if you just want to say hello. We're pretty friendly. Speaking of friendly, if you'd like to have real-time conversations with us, consider joining our Discord over at the Cultivate Network. You can chat with us over at the Old Crimers Cubby, or catch up with any of the other great creators that are part of the Cultivate family of podcasts. Just click the link in our show notes or over on our link tree to get started today. And on that note, as always, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we'll see you next time with another tale
As old as crime.